Welcome back, folks. I'm thrilled to have you join us on this Sunday. Today, we're peering into the world of resilience, determination, and triumph with our guest, Jonny Tello. All the way from Ontario, Canada, Jonny isn't your average fighter. He's a seasoned warrior who recently stepped out of the ring after a bare-knuckle brawl in Pattaya, Thailand. I'm very lucky to have had some time to chat with him right after this fight, and let me tell you, I've never seen this many people get knocked out cold right before my eyes. But Jonny's journey goes beyond the punches thrown and the victories claimed. From his early days fraught with schoolyard scuffles to navigating through the dangerous streets of Canada, Jonny has faced challenges that most of us can only imagine. Yet, it's his remarkable resilience and unwavering spirit that truly set him apart. In our conversation, Jonny shares invaluable insights drawn from his diverse experiences, ranging from bartending to restaurant management, and even grappling with the darker sides of life. His story isn't just about fighting opponents in the ring, it's about confronting the demons within and emerging stronger on the other side. From moments of epiphany on psychedelic journeys to overcoming battles with addiction, Jonny's journey is one of redemption, growth, and relentless pursuit of self-improvement. And as we delve into his tales of triumphs and tribulations, one thing becomes abundantly clear. Jonny, or as he's known in the ring, TORO, embodies the essence of authenticity and depth. Join us as we set out on a profound journey with Jonny, where every punch thrown carries a story and every scar tells a tale. If you're new around here, I'm your host Fatih, and you are listening to Heads and Tails. Yeah, one for the books, huh? So I remember you going into it, we were super relaxed though. Like, are you generally just relaxed before any fight?
Yeah? You have to be. Yeah. It's part of the, it's like, it's like going to bed. If you like go try to have sex with a girl and you're like super nervous, you're not going to get it up.
Yeah.
The same thing in fighting. You need if you walk into a fight and you're like nervous like that, you'll feel it for the first round because you're gonna get punched around for a bit.
Yeah.
Before you start attacking, the more relaxed you are, the better you can start. You know.
And like let the sort of motion take its course so that you can position yourself, respond, like flow with it better. I suppose.
Yeah. You just gotta make sure you're really relaxed and warmed up before the fight. Like I said, it's the beginning of the fight. Starts out better. If you're going in and you're like not warmed up and nervous, you get a beating first round, which has happened to me many times. Get beat up first round and come back after, and then why do that? Just and plus when you fight for a long time, you just take it as in like a job to do, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Charlton told me, like, I asked him what's the minimum requirements for anyone that you train to, like, for them to get into a ring beforehand. Do you have some sort of like conditional requirement, like they have to jump rope for 15 minutes, like I don't know, like they should last this long? And he was like, his answer surprised me because he said they need to know how they get I need to see them respond to something when they get hit. Like, I want to see how they react to getting hit. And that kind of what you said kind of parallels that. It's like, okay, what kind of a person are you after you get hit?
Yeah. That's well, generally it kind of that's when you know whether you're a fighter or not. There's two ways to find that out. One is through sparring, and the second is through an actual fight. Because there are many people that like do very well in sparring and in training, and they look amazing. But when like the lights are on and the crowd's out and they're chanting, it becomes a different story. People can't. Some people can't perform. Yeah.
It's like a psychological game at that point.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Fighting is like 90% psychological, and then 10% pain.
Yeah. I think that's why 10% and like maybe 90% being able to take pain in front of everybody else and not let it get to you.
Yeah, I guess everyone's different. I can only tell you from my perspective,
Sure.
and I can tell you from watching others that not everyone's the same. But for me, I'm too much of a man, and too much like I just care too much if people watch me get knocked out. I'm like, no way, no way. Since I was a kid, I didn't really have many things going for me in a lot of ways, but being tough was always my best attribute. Even when I started fighting, I wasn't that good, but I could take a punch. That was my superpower.
Wow. All right.
Now I don't want to take punches. Yeah.
But it was like, okay, it's the Rocky speech where it's like, it doesn't matter how hard you get hit, you know, like how hard you can get hit and like keep going.
Pretty much. Yeah. Unless you're like tall and lengthy, and then you have, much more advantage. Me, when I fight guys that are taller than me, I have to take a hit sometimes to like get in,
Is it such a disadvantage to fight with someone who's taller than you?
It's always, it's like, is it a disadvantage to fight someone that's faster than you or stronger than you? Obviously. If they're taller than you, you have...
Which one's worse? Taller, faster, or stronger?
I would say faster is the worst. Faster is like you have to really work on slowing them down. Depends. But I would say if I'm going to fight somebody that's either fast, strong, or tall, if a guy's really, really fast, it's But then again, power also, right? But a lot of times when guys have a lot of power, if they have speed and power, then it's like a double whammy. Then it's you just gotta
some Lord Scylla type of shit.
Yeah.
Cool. Tell me how you felt at knockdown, like when you knocked your opponent down in the last fight.
When I knocked him down?
Yeah.
Oh, I was so happy. I was like, yes, finally. Like, stay the fuck down. Don't get up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was fucking... When I got knocked down, I was like, it was a pretty tough fight. And I think it was also because I only had like a short amount of time to get ready for it. But when the fight started going, I could have fought more strategically, but I know somebody before me was saying that like, they only want you to go forward, they don't want you to go back, and I was like, fuck them. Who are they to tell me how to fight? I'll fight my own way. But when I got in there and we started going, and then Chapman in the corner was like, that was great, it's a good fight. I'm like, okay, this is what they want. Then I was like, and I can see. And as we were exchanging punches, I was like, he's not going to keep up with his cardio if he keeps up with this. So I just stayed in the pocket and just went back and forth. I could have done a lot of things differently not to get hit as much, but I was...
That's super strategic, though. It's like, I mean, not technical in that sense, but like very technical in the strategy sense. You're like, okay, like assessing the situation moment by moment.
Yeah, I saw him breathe after he threw punches and stuff. I was like, all right, I just got to keep him throwing. But normally I'd let him throw in like... just be agile and not get hit, but this one I was just like, fuck it, I'm just, because I really wanted like I really wanted to make a point, and I wanted to make a good fight out of the fight, because it was a big opportunity on such a big show. So I was gonna let it slip,
Exactly. So tell me more about, because I know you're planning some another show down in Phuket, was it? No. You're doing another boxing, like you're preparing some.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a show in Koh Samui.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. We're just we're being represented there. They're using our fight gear.
Nice.
So Rage fight gear, and it's the gym. It used to be my old gym.
Okay. And I thought you were producing it. Like I thought you were sort of like.
No, that's weed boxing.
Oh shit! Okay, you're doing that.
Yeah, weed boxing.
Nice.
Yeah,
tell me more about it.
That's my show and Tom's show, and okay, where to start? Tom Muay Thai showed me a poster that he made about weed boxing, that they were going to smoke weed and fight, and I was like, well, they have high rollers. Hey. I'm sure it'll work. So then I called John Nutt, and I was like, yo, I have a crazy thing. Maybe you weren't interested. And he's like, yeah, I'm down. So let's go over there and let's see how it's going to happen. So we had an event planned to happen at the International Stadium. And then on my way there, Tom called me saying, hey, I don't think we can do it at the show anymore. I'm like, why? He's like, police come and they want to shut it down.
God.
And I said, I thought you had, police protection. He's like, I thought I did too, or the stadium did too. But apparently, well, they came in here asking for Mike Tyson. And I was like, what do you mean? And they sent me an article saying that someone wrote that Mike Tyson was going to be there. He was going to fight. And then I found out there was like another 5 or 6 articles all about Mike Tyson. And it stemmed off of one sport mag just talking about the weed boxing and implying that Mike Tyson likes weed, and then everyone took their own little turns.
Oh god.
And so it got like big attention over the media, and then Conor McGregor posted about it.
A little mix-up like went into something else.
Yeah, and then it just got like viral online, like and then
Fire festival type
they
of
estimated, I don't know, the company Vinzan,
Uh-huh.
the one that's being involved with me, that is gonna help me do the show and produce it. They had their research team look into it, and it reached like something. I forget how much, but it was in the millions of people that like were like actively interacting with this, with the ads and stuff. So, yeah, but we had to shut it down. We tried opening somewhere else, but then they said, the people in Bangkok said no, can't happen. But they're like, it could happen tomorrow, just not today. And I was like, what? Thailand. So I was like, well, we couldn't do it the next day, so we just scrapped it up, and now we're actually doing a licensing thing for it.
Smart.
So Vinzan is pulling their plugs and doing what they can to get it fully licensed. It's not going to be Muay Thai, it's just Western boxing. You know, like, it's a very sensitive topic, Muay Thai in Thailand. We don't want to touch that. And yeah, I'm not going to fight in it. I know my face was on the poster, but I was actually not going to smoke weed on the show. I was just going to be the main event because they asked me to, even though I was producing it in a sense. They always want me to fight, so I said sure at that time. Now I'm like, no.
How do you, like, when you're in the ring, you mentioned like, okay, this is the type of fight they want, like, I'm talking about the bare knuckle. How much of it at this point of your career, you're sort of like, you got your fingers in a couple different pies now, you're kind of like promoting, producing, you know, like fighting actively. When you get in the ring, you're like, like, how much of it, like, how much of a promoter head do you get when you're like fighting? Like,
Zero. I'm just there to fight. Yeah. Kill or be killed in a sense. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't think about it. I think about my brain does go into a place where a promoter goes, only in the way of what can I add as an asset to this company? How do I get attention from the public? How do I increase my market value? Understand? Because fighting is also a business. It's not just it's not an Olympic sport, you know.
Absolutely.
Where you just, the best wins. And fighting, it doesn't even matter if you're the best. If you're boring and it's not good. If you never get a knockout, it's not good. If you're ugly, it's not good. It's like, it's really, well, maybe not that for men, but it's still a shallow thing, because it's all entertainment in a sense, you know, for the promoter's perspective.
Exactly.
And for this fight, like, I was just, I just wanted to go toe to toe and see how it went. And I wasn't minding getting hit, to be honest. He wasn't hitting me that hard. He was just hitting me, you know.
No, the entertainment part gets me a lot because I've never saw a fight ever in my life, and BKFC, like the one you won.
You were there, yeah?
Yeah, it was the first time ever. So I couldn't stop but feel like I was in this Hunger Games / like, what's this new Netflix show they had? The Korean one.
Squid Games.
Yeah, Squid Games. Like, I kind of felt that a little bit. I couldn't help, but maybe that's because of the nature of the organization. It's like Lamborghinis outside. I did feel the business vibe of it. But when I'm watching you fight, it's very like non-related. That's why I asked, like, how much of it are you thinking?
No. When you're in there and you're staring at the guy and the lights are on, you're just like, okay, don't get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
You know, that's all you're worried about, is not to get beat. And plus, like, in a way, fighting is very dangerous, especially bare knuckle, you know. Like, people have died doing it many times. So I'm very conscious of it. So when I'm there, I'm in a sense there to kill the other person, you know. I don't really feel a lot of remorse in the fighting. Obviously, I'm not a dick. I'm not gonna punch him on the ground and stuff like that. I'm very, very controlled in that sense. But no, it's very, very serious.
It's real.
Yeah, it's real.
It's real.
Well, Fight Circus is a little different. When I do Fight Circus stuff, you can relax a little bit. You know, there's no pressure. You know, you're not gonna try to kill the other person. The person's not gonna kill you. But in bare knuckle, a lot of the fun of the fighting is out the window. It's more of combat than anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sori said that she fought a lot different organizations, and she said bare knuckle was her least favorite. What do you say?
You know what? It's not as fun as like glove boxing because it hurts more.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty primal. I kind of like that aspect of it, and I like that. You know, when you tell people I'm a Muay Thai fighter, they're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm an MMA fighter. Oh, that's cool. When you say something like, I'm a bare knuckle boxer, they're like, whoa, you're fucked, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
That's like, gangster, bro.
Yeah. And I kind of like that in a sense where, you know, it makes me more badass. Even though, in my opinion, MMA is the most badass thing you can do, because if you're the world champion, UFC world champion, you're the most badass man on the planet because you can beat everybody up. Yeah. Understand? Because you have jiu-jitsu, you have wrestling. And me, I'm actively, you know, doing jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and I am an MMA fighter. And I do that in the sense, even if I don't compete, because I know it's a little childish, but let's just say I go outside and I get fight in the street. I want to know that I can win 99% of the time, every single time. Exactly. Or 100% of the time, every single time. Whether it goes to the ground or standing up. And I come from a very rugged background where like fighting for your life or fighting on the streets was like pretty normal. So to me, I always have that in a sense, you know? Like a dog that grows up around other dogs. When you give him a tree, he's going to take the tree and go behind the house to eat it because, well, he has experience on it, right? Someone's going to steal it. So,
hey, that's modern wisdom, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think from my perspective, that's exactly what got me into combat sports in the first place. I was like, okay, it's not like that I want to, if I get myself into a fight, I definitely want to win, but I was at the opposite end of yours where I was super sheltered growing up, and I never really got into any sort of, I mean, I hit and got hit, and I did get into fights eventually in high school and stuff, but it was more like, I want to have a say if something happens rather than just submit to someone's will. Like, I want to fight back. Like, that's how I got into jiu-jitsu in the first place. It's like, okay, like I want to avoid, I want to run away as much as possible, but if I can't, then all right, I got to face the music, so I want to know close combat. And then that kind of led me to Muay Thai. I was like, okay, I want to know how to throw punches, and I want to know how to throw some kicks. But yeah, do you think every fighter who like takes this on as a profession has a story? Like, do you have a story per se?
Yeah, everyone has a story. Yeah. Even if you're not even talking about fighting, everyone has a story. Yeah. You know, it's what makes them who they are.
Yeah. So did you get into it like recreationally, or like you said, you were kind of like raised up in a?
So it started. I used to get into a lot of fights as a kid, like since kindergarten.
Oh shit.
Kindergarten, okay. 1, 2, 3. Every year, I was always fighting all the time. I think it stemmed a lot my fights from like Pokemon cards, Digimon cards, Beyblades, and marbles. Because where I was from, people would rob you all the time. I've been robbed so many times. Yeah. So, you know, I don't want to fucking lose my holographic 5-star war turtle. Like, fuck you, dude. Yeah. I'm not giving it to you.
Yeah, no.
So I fight. And there was times where I literally got jumped as like a 7-year-old.
Holy
by
crap.
A bunch of fucking 12-year-olds. Yeah. Shit. And I just go home and cry. I wouldn't even tell my parents. It was just kind of like how it was. And, but I was also like a chubby kid too, so a lot of people made fun of me. And my dad was very toxic, masculine. He's like the opposite now. You know, he's like, why are you doing this, Hijo? Please stop getting punched in the face.
Tables turn, bridges burn,
go to
baby.
Church. Back then he was like, hey, you want to watch this? We'd watch Van Damme, Rocky, all these like violent movies and stuff, and like, oh, if someone disrespects you, you gotta punch him in the face. I'm
wait,
like, okay,
wait,
Dad.
Not that much.
Yeah.
Not bare knuckle.
I think I took his words a little too, and I always tell him too, and he's like, oh, why are you doing it? I'm like, Dad, you know, like I repeat his quotes that he tells me. He's like, but I didn't mean it that way.
It was the opposite.
So I think he did mean it that way at that time, but when people get older, their heart softens, you know.
Of course.
I know mine's will too. Everyone does. Or you become more of an asshole. It goes either two ways. You become a nicer person, or you become more of a, you know, the Gran Torino. You know, what's that? His name again? The actor, the guy from the cowboy movies, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You become like that, you know, which I've met many people like that. My the guy that owned my boxing gym, Peter, he passed away a few years ago, but he was like that, like a hardcore badass, you know. But like I was saying, I used to get into a lot of fights, and I got my ass kicked a lot, and then I got kicked out of school when I was in elementary school for some stupid shit. And then we left my city because it was getting kind of violent, and then we went to, and they wanted to get a house, so we went to this place called Brampton, which is outside of Toronto, which ended up now is like the most like dangerous city in all of Ontario, which is it's ironic how we move from a dangerous part and then we go to another part that just becomes twice as dangerous as the other part. But yeah, I was getting in fights there too, and I got suspended a few times, and then I came home with a black eye, and then my mom had to talk to me and my dad too, and then a week later I got into another fight and I got my ass kicked again, and I had a big other black eye, And my dad was like, okay, well, if you're gonna get into fights, you at least gotta start winning your fights. So he took me to a boxing gym.
And how old were you around that time?
I think I was 11 or 10.
So that was the formal training, almost like when you first started formally training.
That's when I started training. Yeah, the moment I got into the gym, it was just for me. It was a way to let out aggression, and I started winning my fights after that.
There you go.
Yeah. Outside of the ring, you know.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, because when I started fighting in the ring, I was losing. I was getting my ass kicked, but then eventually I got good, you know? Yeah.
Now, I was listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger. He had a conversation with Rick Rubin recently, and he was talking about how bodybuilding wasn't a thing around the 60s, but like he kind of made it like this thing. He was like, oh, I want to make it a thing, you know? Like I want this, you know, Austrian farmer boy to, you know, go into the gym, and they maybe you remember this commercial. It's like they made commercials for gyms, and it was like this one guy, like a scrawny guy, like in the beach, like some big dude kind of takes his girlfriend away, and he's like sad, and like another guy comes and says, hey, you can go to the gym, and he just works out, you know, like just in 30 days you get some results, and then you fight the guy, get the girl back, and that was funny. Kind of the thing. So do you I want to ask you a question about training. So how much of a training would put you maybe at the 10%? Let's say a random street fight, okay? There's like non-equipped people, you know, somewhat equipped people, and like professionals. Obviously you don't stand a chance if the person you happen to pick a fight with is a professional. But how much of a training would you think the average Joe would have to go through to, you know, be in the 10%?
You know, I think nowadays more people know how to fight than back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Especially since I know in Canada for sure, everyone's done something like kind of like Thailand. Everyone's done Muay Thai. Canada, everyone's done either BJJ or kickboxing or boxing. There's a lot of fighters. But I would, if you just go once a day, you know, for like 5 days a week or even 3 days a week for like a couple years,
you're good.
You can hold yourself. You can hold your own. Yeah. Maybe not beat a professional fighter, but you can, you know, not get your ass kicked. That's the important part.
Exactly.
It's not even about winning the fight. It's about not getting killed and not being embarrassed.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So like a couple of years, fairly regularly, you know, 3 to 5 times a week.
Yeah.
How to do it.
Yeah, you do something like 3-5 years, you're solid. Yeah.
How much of it do you think, like, people like George St. Pierre is like super respected in Canada? How do you see it sort of increase in popularity fighting in the, you know, maybe past 20 years?
He blew up fighting in or MMA in Canada.
Right.
Like people don't really watch boxing, for example, in Canada. It's well now it's picking up in the local scene a lot over the past few years, but MMA is the number one thing for sure in Canada.
Really? Not hockey?
Oh yeah, hockey obviously. Yeah, hockey. But hockey, even now, less people watch hockey. More people like basketball. More people like UFC now. You know, it's not as big as it used to be hockey. And also, Canada is very multicultural, and most people are immigrants there.
Sure.
So yeah, just cricket is a big thing where I'm from. Cricket
Ontario.
And what's it called? Baraji or something like that.
Is it like another tennis
Dabadi. It's like India. Cause I come from Brampton, and Brampton is like they call it Browntown, and it's like the highest visible minorities in one city.
Oh, nice.
In Canada,
Super
at least
diverse.
that's what. Yeah. So it's all brown, black, Spanish, mainly Punjabi. You know.
So it's like New
Filipino.
Jersey then.
Yeah. So I guess I've never been to New Jersey, but
melting pot stuff, like kind of like New York, but New Jersey's like even more like wide racially, you know, like there's a lot.
Yeah. Like I'll give me an example. My girlfriend, she went to a public school and elementary school. I went to a Catholic school, so it's more whites, you know, or non-brown. And but she her kid photos, you know, when her classes, she was like, it was like all brown and black kids, and then just like her and maybe one other white person. Nice. So it's pretty extreme. Yeah.
That's how I got initiated in New York, Queens. I had beef with this a black kid, Malik, in like elementary school, the kindergarten I went to. He used to kick me in the back of my heels in class. And one day I just like slammed the door shut, knowing his like finger was on the door, and then I got punked by his brothers, like big brothers. That was the first black punch I had.
Yeah, it sounds like my stories.
Yeah. But I bounced back really quick, and like the principal was really nice to like save me after like a few punches. So I was like really grateful.
Okay, good.
And I was like, okay, like that's what it feels like to get hurt. Like this is what happens. Okay, I want to ask some rapid fire questions about fighting, and then maybe we can talk about some more root stuff.
Sure.
So, in a few sentences, what inspired you to become a professional boxer?
Desperation.
Oh God, we gotta elaborate on that.
Yeah, life was rough, so I had to find another avenue out. And one guy that I knew, Steve Rose, he fought Triple G, Golovkin. He had one fight with him. Obviously, he had a big career, but he did 5 rounds, got knocked down 5 rounds, made $1 million. So I was like, well, I guess you can make a lot of money. And then I have another friend, or acquaintance of mine that I fought in the amateurs. He fought like a lot of big boxers, like Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia. He got beat up by everybody, Amir Khan, but he made like a lot of money. So, there's a couple stories, but the last time when I decided to be like, okay, I gotta go full on be a fighter was because like I was broken. I lost pretty much everything here, and I was like, okay, well, remember Steve Rose made that money. Fuck it, I'll do it. Because how the fuck am I how else am gonna make back all that money that I lost? That is kind of like a once in a lifetime kind of like savings. You know, when you use life savings, I'm still young, so I'll do it. That's why I'm fighting now.
I see. When I was watching the game, the show, BKFC, I just had this thought. No context. I want you to take a riff on it. Life is less merciful, or the toughest boxer is more merciful than life.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. How do you deal with the pressure and nerves before a fight?
Music.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah, music for sure. Gets you in the zone.
Every time.
Yeah, every time. I'm always like the week of the fight, 2 weeks of the fight, I'm just listening to music all day, every day. Yeah.
And what type of music do you?
Motivational shit, like some sad stuff for me to remember all the bad things to motivate me, some good things to make me feel like I'm gonna kill them. Some other just get my mind out of my head and into the music, into what I'm doing. Right. Yeah.
So flow triggering music for you, whatever that is in.
Sometimes I listen to the whole Rocky soundtrack.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, things like that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. How do you describe your most memorable fight?
I don't know. Most memorable one is now my last one.
Yeah, actually, though, it like I said before, it's like the stuff that you can tell your grandparents, because I was like, oh shit, Johnny's down. Like, is he gonna? And like the second round, you just get up and like you keep at it, you know, like stay in the pocket.
I said in the corner, I was like, I'm just gonna keep punching until I can't anymore, because I'm not gonna go to the decision. Because there's no way I'm gonna win a fight. Even though I was landing way more than he was with a knockdown, and he's Thai.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not. So that's just, even if that's not true, it's always in the mind, because that's just how, prejudice against judging. Exactly. It happens everywhere.
Exactly.
You know? Even in Canada or the States, you know.
There's always someone in the bag, man.
Yeah, exactly. And, I just had to, like, I'm like, okay, because if I lose this fight, I'm, like, done.
Yeah.
So, like, no way. Yeah.
It's like,
I knew I was going to knock him out. I knew. Like, I had no doubt. Yeah. I was like, okay, now it's time to turn it up. Let's go.
Even though he's like super well decorated guy, he's not like, it's not his first rodeo. He's been in a lot of fights. Guy looks tough as fuck. Just to like give the audience a little, context. Without gloves, like I got hit a few times in life, but with a glove, like with someone heavy just punching you in the liver, it's like you're out of breath, man. Like you can't, like you just want to stop doing whatever you want to do. To get that punch in your face with no glove is just, the magnitude is just way.
I'm used to it though. I've been like hit in the face a lot as a kid, as an adult. I've been jumped by like more than 5 guys, maybe like 4 times in my life. So Luckily, almost all those times I was kind of drunk, so it was a little bit better because you don't really feel it. You know, it's just the adrenaline. Till the next day, the morning of, you're like, oh my god, I can't breathe, I can't walk. My dad's like, oh Johnny, can you help me lift this thing up? And I have to hide the fact that I got my ass whooped last night and my back's all bruised up. So I'm used to that. Like I have like a rough upbringing in that sense. So to me, like my first bare knuckle fight here in Thailand, I needed it because I needed the money. When I got tagged a little bit, boom, at once, and I was like, oh, I felt this before. Like, it's like I'm used to it, you know? So it's less scary when you're used to it, you know?
Was that the one with Barry Jones?
No. That was the one I knocked him out in, like, the second round. This really tall guy, Jean Carlos. He's a really nice guy. He's about, like, 6'4", you know?
Whoa,
and,
okay.
yeah, he was huge. I'd, like, jumped it, but I ended up knocking him out. But yeah, like I'm used to it. Kind of like if you're, you know, if you're in right now in Ukraine or in or you know Israel, and the bombs are going off all the time. Yeah, it's scary at first, but eventually it just becomes the way it is, you know.
Yeah, I had a Syrian friend told me, it's like alarm clocks. Like after a while, it's like okay, 6 o'clock in the morning. That's my alarm.
Yeah, sometimes getting punched in the face bare knuckle becomes like boo.
Yeah.
Nice one. I'm gonna try to hit you back. You know,
Exactly.
It's not like it's when you focus on like, oh my god, I got hit. You know, or like when you're cut. Like when I bleed, I don't even notice it. You never see me touch and look at my hand. I'm always just like, fuck it. Who cares if I'm bleeding? The guy's trying to kill me. You know, but some guys, you know, like you can tell, like the guys that are mentally weak a little bit, you get blood and they're just like patting their hand, and looking at their, you know, I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Extrapolate that, please, to you know, how do you handle losses? Okay, that's a micro and that's a macro. Like, how do you bounce back from defeats?
Losses are always hard, especially my last loss, which is the first loss I had in a long time, which was with Barry Jones. Yeah, that was a really tough fight. He fractured my neck in the fight. I got knocked down also again, but it was I'm the only guy to last 7 rounds with him, which is an achievement. But I did so many things wrong, and then in the last round, there was a situation where they told me that I had 2 more rounds left going into the last round, so I held off the last round. And then when I got back in the corner, I was like, all right, I got him now. And then they're like, oh, it's over. I was like, what? Yeah, it was a mix-up with a whole bunch of things. I don't want to say anything about it, but yeah, that aspect of it broke my heart because, like, as you saw, I had 1 more round left, and what did I do? And that was my plan. And I've always done that since I was a kid. The last round, I go full on, you know? So I never had a chance to go out like a man, which is kind of shitty. And it never worked out with BKB because, well, yeah, things don't work out sometimes. So, but and also because I lost the fight and my face was way worse in this fight because it was a 7-round war against the pound-for-pound best in the world. I was like questioning, like, man, is this even worth it? You know, it's because I didn't get paid that much. You know, if I got paid like $40,000, $100,000, $1 million, I would like, fuck it, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it again. But when you get paid like 100,000, 150,000 baht, it's like, yeah, it's good money for Thailand, but it's not life changing.
Exactly.
You know,
maybe not enough to, you know, put your neck on the line.
No, like my last fight, I did that so that the next time I can get a bigger paycheck. I'm hoping it goes up and up and up. You know, that's the goal. Because if I didn't have a light at the end of the tunnel, then why the fuck am I doing this for?
Right. So that's kind of like future motivation is kind of helps how it helps you to bounce back.
But it's good that my losses are hard on me because that's how I get better, right? Yeah.
Exactly. My jiu-jitsu teacher always said there's never losing. Like you always learn. Like if you're open to it, like in the moment and, you know, like in a general sense in the fight, between the fights, if you're open to it, there's always learning.
Yeah, the moment you give up mentally that's when you lost. Yeah.
So tell me more about your Ecuadorian Honduras. Like, where are you from exactly?
My dad is from Ecuador, and my mom's from Honduras.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So you visit both places?
No, I've been to one place each once, and when I was young, like one when I was in the 2nd grade, and the second when I went to Ecuador, I was in the 5th grade, and then never again. I do want to go. Yeah. I actually have Ecuadorian citizenship, not Honduran. I haven't taken advantage of that, and I hear that Ecuador is super cheap, so.
Why not, man?
Why not?
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll see.
I was either going to Argentina with my friend or come to this part of the world. I'm so glad I came to this part of the world because I get to speak like cool cats like you. But yeah, that part of the world seems to be like really cool.
Yeah. It's definitely the Latino culture is definitely great.
Yeah.
You know, they do rob you more.
Well,
That's the downside.
Yeah.
You can't leave your phone laying around. They'll take it.
Hey.
Here in Thailand, they're like, "Mister, you left your phone." I'm like, "Kapung kap." They're like, "Fuck, I've lost everything here." I've even had people on Facebook contact me and give me my shit back.
Damn. Okay.
It's so great. It's like living in a small town.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Over there, it's like, well, on one side, it's balance, right? It's like it's a continent where a man can still be a man. But at the same time, you know, you gotta deal with the consequences of that.
Yeah, you gotta be that much more of a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, what winds blew you to this part of the world from Canada?
A lot of my life is a long story, not a short story. So, it started. I was fighting underground MMA in Canada, and I was building a name for myself. I had one loss after like 3 fights, and then I was gonna fight another big fight.
When was your first fight, by the way? I know at 11 you started training, and when was the first fight you had?
I think I was 12.
12? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was 12. Or no, 11. No, 13.
13. Okay, cool.
Yeah, 13. Yeah, going into grade 9, and then in grade 9. Yeah.
And then you started doing underground in
when
Canada.
I was like 26, 25.
Okay.
I'm 32 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in between that, you constantly are
I was fighting amateurs until 2012 was my last one. And then there's some on the records. For some reason, there's like fights that I never even had on. I don't even know why my name's on there. As on what's it called again? Sherdog or I think it was Sherdog or the other one, whatever. But back then there was no online stuff, so they have a book. You have a little book. I have them, and my dog ate it. So like, but like I still have the pieces, and I still have the 2 books with me. So it has all the like to give a signature, your weight, and all that stuff since I was a kid. Yeah.
You got your stats and everything. Well,
yeah,
the games that you had.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to keep track. Like Ties. When people like, I have 300 fights. Yeah. Okay, can I see your record? Like, there's no record. You know? It's Canada,
it's up
but
here.
like, it's up here. Yeah.
And then you made it to Thailand after all those.
Yeah. So what happened was, I had a loss. I was gonna train for like a bigger fight, and I was getting another title shot. And I was like, cool. And then one day I go out to some promotion in a nightclub that the fight was gonna be at, and they asked me to go there. I had some problems with some people at the time, so I asked for like private security.
Oh, okay.
So they said, yeah, sure. And then throughout the night, it was all good. And then a group of people or someone tried to kill me, apparently. And then it started off with them whipping a bottle in my face and then cutting half my nose off.
That's where that scar's from.
Yeah, that's where that scar's from, not from fighting. Yeah. Okay. And then after that, my career was done. I had half my nose off. I had to get reattached. About a year recovery or more than that. And then I didn't fight for 4 years after that. Yeah.
It's so weird. Why do you think that happened in the first place?
This fight was a girl too that threw that bottle too.
Oh God! Really?
Yeah. It was a girl. I was just, you know what? When you're meddling in things you're not supposed to, there's consequences.
Hey, you know.
That's just how it is. But I learned my lesson. It definitely woke me up, and it made me realize what's important and what's not. I stopped my fashion got worse so after that. I didn't care about my hair so much after that, you know. So there's some good things out of it. But yeah, long story short, I got my nose cut off, and then that was the end of it. The
underground stuff.
Yeah, I fucked off, and I went out to Lake Louise in the mountains, and I started living there. And I was out there in van for a year, not training, not doing anything, just living. It was nice. And then they called me for the surgery for my nose because my septum was all fucked. I had still glass in my septum. Oh, so they had to do reconstructive surgery. They took my septum out, put something else in there. I don't even know what the hell's in there. But actually, it doesn't hurt when I get punched, though. That's cool. Yeah, and it's really strong because the bone was broken and we put it together. So it's stronger than I had before. And before, I couldn't really breathe properly because I had a deviated septum from getting punched. Now, it's good. So
you got the airflow. Forceful airflow fits.
And then when I got my surgery, they said I could never fight again. So I got real depressed, and I got alopecia. Went bald for a year. I got Bell's palsy for like 4 months, where I couldn't move half my face. It was like just going And then I went through like serious depression, and then I started getting myself out of it little by little. And then one day I was like still in that kind of life that involved me getting my nose cut off, you know, because I had to make money and I was doing my thing. And then one day I did mushrooms. And
Was
this
it your
guy
first
came.
time?
No, I'd done many times, but I did it because I was kind of lost. I was like, I'm gonna do mushrooms, so to get out of it. And then someone came to my house to get something, some sketch bag, and I was like, nah, bro, you can't come in here. Like, I'm on. I just ate mushrooms, gonna kick in. And he was a friend of mine, but he was a bit of a druggie, so I was like, all right, I'll let you in for a little bit, but you gotta go. And then during that conversation, it kicked in, and I was like, oh fuck. And then eventually. Yeah, I was like, get the fuck out of my house, Sam. Like, seriously, get the fuck out, bro. You're tripping me the fuck out. So he got out, and then when he left, I was just like, what am I doing with my life? It's like, this is really like where I'm at now, and I'm just like dealing with these people and these low lives, even though I love Sam, but it was like I was just surrounded by like just toxic people. It's kind of like, you know, movie 8 Mile.
Yeah.
Kind of like Eminem is just with those kind of friends. It's just how it was with me too. Yeah, and then I was like, fuck it, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And I was planning to maybe go to Tofino at that time. I was in BC, you know, with my girlfriend at the time, and with my girlfriend, yes. And she actually helped me a lot to get out of this whole like depression issue thing. And then I was like, hey, babe, you want to go to Thailand? You know, because I want to be a fighter still. So after my surgery on my nose, I couldn't get punched in the face. It was like getting sacked. It was really bad. So I started training with like. And I was addicted to sparring, so I started sparring, and 3 months later with like hockey helmets to kind of like protect my nose. And that's what kind of made me much better at slipping, because it still hurt to get punched. So I started like trying to slip punches with big ass helmets. I would use Kempo helmets, hockey helmets, fucking everything. Even these expensive actual boxing helmets. And then after I did those mushrooms, I was just like, yo, I want to fight again. That's what I want to do. So let's go to Thailand. So we planned to go to Thailand. I went for 3 months, and I came back. And then when I came back, I was in shape again. I was fighting again. I came back. I fought there. Came to Canada. I fought again. And then that night, I went out to party, and I ended up getting jumped again. I got bottled in my head, and I fought like 7 guys, and some punched for some girl, and some guy tried to run me over with his car. And
holy shit.
And then after that, I woke up with my head stuck to my pillow, with all blood, and I was like, fuck. My parents like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I don't even remember what happened. And then
are you like a belligerent drunk? Like when
no. I just
you seem like a very like amazing drunk. Like I would love to like get drunk with you. Like and like
drunk.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you just punch me in the face randomly,
right,
I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah,
you know, especially
but
if
randomly.
I'm drunk. Yeah, it was. It was kind of random. Yeah, people came to my bar, and then they're like, I was like, nah, you gotta be here, whatever. And then this girlfriend punched me in the face.
Oh God.
Apparently I smacked her back. I don't remember. And then it just all hell ensued. And then it became good old Brampton, B-Town. And after that, I was just like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, man. Like shit's like not cool. Yeah. You know, so I was like, all right, we're going back to Thailand. So save up as much money as we can in this next 8 months, and let's get the fuck out of here. And I made some pretty good money at that time. So I came here pretty loaded. I was like ready to go. I was like gonna let go of everything. I was gonna stay out here for maybe a year, then go travel to Thailand. 3 months in, COVID happened.
When was that? Oh, right, 2019.
Yeah, but when I came here it was January 2020, like the time where January 2020. Gotcha. 3 months in, COVID happened. Shit. Yeah, so I had 3 Muay Thai fights here, and then COVID happened, and then there was no fights and nothing, so I just moped around for like a year and made some bad investments and lost a lot of money. And then all that money that I saved up, I lost. So I was like, shit, now what? So I was like, I remember Steve Rose. I was like, okay, I'll start fighting again. Started Googling it, and looking on Facebook, and then Full Metal Dojo, which is Fight Circus, my friends now. They were doing this bare knuckle show called Bare Knuckle Kingdom. And then my friend at the time that used to fight with me underground MMA was living here and was working with them. So I commented like, I'll fight, and then he said, I vouch for Jonny Tello. We go way back, and then he talked to them, and he got me on the show. And then since then, everything is,
it's been good.
Snowballed since then.
Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, it's like these monumental moments of when you realize, okay, you make a decision, right? It's like you just reminded me of like you're the average of the 5 people around you. Okay, like I don't like the 5 people around me. I want to change that. You go somewhere else, go back, confirm that belief that okay, this is not where I want to be, because shit doesn't leave me. Like it kind of always follows me. And then start anew here, learn a bit more from investing and all that. It seems like this nice little story arc that you go through.
Yeah, you know, and I like being out here. Like, I'll be honest with you, most of my best friends are dead. Almost all of them, except for the ones that I used to hang out with. One's in prison, and the other one he's happily at home with his baby moms, I think, still, and his kid. And then everyone else, they're all back there. But the ones, my boys that we had a thing together, yeah, they're all gone now. So,
live hard, die free.
Yeah, so that also affected a lot of things too, and motivates me to keep going and fighting since, like, at least I'm alive, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's the struggle, man.
It's okay, it's life. People die, people don't, you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's
I
hard
was
to
more
get
sad when my
sentimental.
dogs died.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, tell me more about death. I like talking about death. A lot of people are, like, scared of death. I welcome it. I think it gives life meaning. But I don't know, from a perspective who's lost some friends, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
It just is what it is. Death is part of life. People come, people go. I have some of my best friends now are actually like active soldiers, like mercenaries and stuff like that. So I get along with them because we grew up differently, but at the same time, same in a way when it comes to like people dying and, you know. And the worst, I find the worst thing is when you die for nothing. When you die for something stupid. That is like, you know, just tragic, you know. Or when everything's, I have friends that like were like exceptional class citizens that did everything right. Went to school, got top grades, got a banking job at a firm, and then gets cancer and dies. I was like, what the fuck? What is there rules to this game, or is it just fucking, you know? Because I try to look at life as in like I'm trying to observe as much as I can and kind of pick up the patterns and learn the rules of it, because I feel that there are rules to like physics, and obviously they are, but like whether it's just philosophy or quantum physics, you know, but there's rules to it, and I'm picking it up a little here, because I try really hard to think about it. But things like that throw me off, where it's like, you know, what? So, for me, for example, like, obviously I don't want to die, not now, but sometimes life has gone so hard that I'm like, a girl's like, oh, what if you die? I'm like, well, if you die, it's less burden.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to worry or stress out about anything. It just is what it is, you know? Sometimes I view it as like life, like, you know, if you just close your eyes and went to sleep forever, it's not so bad. But then again, you say that until you have a gun pointed at your head, and you're like, I don't want to die. Okay, let's, you know. Your subconscious is kind of like holding your breath, you know. If you try to hold your breath, you can't pass out.
Yeah.
You know, you'll eventually start breathing again. Your brain won't let you do it. Yeah. Understand? So it's the same thing as that.
Yeah. I think observation, you're onto something there. What they see is the thing that is being observed, and the observer is the same thing. So that's kind of one fundamental truth that I've seen.
Yeah.
So you're watching someone box, like you are that person who box, like you're the embodiment of what you observe, actually.
And that's a way I actually excelled in fighting. It started off, who did I do it first? I think De La Hoya was Tito Trinidad, the boxer, was the first guy. I watched him versus Vargas, and I was like, wow, this crazy fight. And I was like, man, he really hits that right hand like really good, you know? And then I watched like 10 of his fights and studied him immensely. And then I'd go to the bag and I envisioned myself as him. And I would eventually mimic his style. And then I did the same thing with a whole bunch of others, which maybe is something I should do now, which is like I did the same thing with Mayweather, with Pacquiao, with Sugar Ray Leonard, with Ali, and I can, you know, like a person that mimics somebody's personality, I can mimic someone's fighting style, and that adds into my fighting style now, because then I know how to do these things. I'm learning from the best. So yeah, observation is helps a lot. It also depends on the way you learn. Everyone's different, right? Some people can only read and learn. Some people have to do all senses to learn, or use all of them. Yeah.
Totally. No, I think you're definitely right with, watching something and trying to... I've read something cool earlier today about how people aren't the main character. They're just the spotlight. And what life is that you shine the light on things that are noteworthy for you. And you're not the main character. You're just the spotlight, like emphasizing things. And in that moment, to Sugar Ray Leonard, you're doing that. It's your girlfriend, whatever's in front of you, whatever. You're doing some business. That's what's important. So that's what you're shining at, and you're pronouncing it and sort of like outlining it. Yeah, I think observation, man. So
yeah. And the same thing goes with life outside of fighting. You look at someone that's successful. What are they doing? That you're not doing? And like back home, like I said, I would come out these, since I was a kid, so strategic ways. I know how we can make money. Let's do this. We're gonna buy this. We're gonna sell this, and then halfway in between, I'm like, "Where's the money?" "Oh, I fucking gambled it. I lost it."
Scheming.
Or I'm like, "What the fuck?" They're not even scheming me. They're just being stupid and not caring. And then it would just be like, man, like, how am I gonna succeed when everyone else just like is so happy with status quo? I'm the opposite. I hate status quo. Even now, I'm never comfortable where I am. I'm always like, fuck, I need more. And I know that's a very toxic way of thinking, but I don't mean it all as in materialistic shit.
Sure.
A lot of it, yeah, for sure. But I mean, just I don't like not being able to do something because I can't do it.
Right.
I want to be able to do it. Yeah, freedom. Freedom. This is why I live in Thailand, and I don't like living in first world countries anymore. There's just too much rules. You got to stop at the stoplight 100% before you go, or you get a ticket if a cop's there. Here, it's a little bit insanity, It's a little bit of, like, next level, like not following the rules. But I don't know. To me, that small amounts of freedom goes a long way. It
does. I spoke with a lady who runs a cool Airbnb in Koh Lanta. She had a story about this. I'm sure you have too. She told me that Mai Pen Rai, which roughly translates to no worries in Thai, sums up like the Thai lifestyle. If you're relaxed and you go with the flow, things generally work out. But if you're stressed out and worried, people kind of pick up on it, and then it'll be harder for, things will require more effort than it needs to be. So I feel like in the Western world, there's a lot of that happening. Whereas over here, it's different.
Yeah, I think there's everything's a balance. If you're too sabai, which is the other terminology they use, it's not good.
Yeah.
And if you're too much on the opposite side, you're gonna get Bell's palsy or a heart attack or a stroke or your cholesterol will go up. It's just, even your body has ways of reacting to high stress, to trying to wake you up and say, like, yo, chill the fuck out. I think it's a good, if you have a combination of both, it's the best thing, because sometimes being super stressed out in a situation, I've been in some situations where I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna get out of this? And I'm just like in my own head for like a week, and I'm just constantly thinking, and eventually something pops and I'm like, I have an idea. But if I wasn't so stressed out and thinking about it so hardcore, how would I have ever done that? That's why sometimes I do mushrooms, because instead of thinking for a week, I just sit there for 5 hours and I'll come to some kind of conclusion. If I stay focused.
It's hard to like not branch out when you're on shrooms.
Yeah, but I've literally done mushrooms and it's changed my life many times. Changed the direction I was going in life. I was going left, now I'm going right.
I heard a good analogy about how, like, when you live, basically you have a sequence of decisions based on your culture, your raising, like how you've been raised and all that. So it's like the snow has some grooves on it because you keep taking the same road over and over again. But when you take some psychedelics, some LSD, mushrooms, DMT, there's kind of like the snow, and it gives you an opportunity to make a fresh new decision.
Yeah, it makes you realize things. It makes you realize. That's why sometimes people have bad trips. I find that most of the time when you have a bad trip, whether it's weed or whether it's mushrooms or anything else, it's because you come to a realization of something you don't like about yourself, and you start harnessing on it, and you're like, what the fuck,
I'm so messed up.
yeah, it's happened to me a few times, and after that, I'm just like, I can't even live life anymore because now I realize something I didn't realize before. Like, at least live life normally. So,
but you're conscious of that, the fact that you're messed up. So I think that makes you better than most people who are messed up that don't care.
Everyone's messed up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. some people just don't care about it and like are evil.
Yeah, or some people just don't care about it and like sabay.
Yeah.
Might be nice. It is what it is, you know. Yeah, like which is like, in my opinion, people that just do the same job every single day, expecting to get just waiting for my raise eventually in a few years and working towards a pension. I actually might be wrong about that, because a lot of people are very, you know, it's like my dad says, a job in a 9 to 5 is the best thing you can ever have in your life. And I say, that sounds like you believe something someone told you to keep you working.
Well,
you know?
It does sound a little gaslighty.
Yeah. But, yeah. But my dad's a sweet man. He's a very hardworking individual, and yeah, he's an inspiration. I don't think I could ever be as good as a person than he is. I'm too rugged to be like him.
You never know, man. Maybe when you get to your dad's age, you'll you'll be like your own
I'll
man.
probably be more like the guy from Gran Torino and get the fuck off my lawn.
Clint Eastwood style.
I think that'll be me eventually.
So business. Let's talk a little bit about different things that you do like outside of boxing. There's like some nutritional line, some supplements that you. Is it a business that you have, or you
no? Actually, I'm sponsored from Elite Nutrition. Also, they own Elite Gyms. They have one in Samoa, one in Pattaya, and Swedish Supplements. That is one of the brands that they do. So I just promote them. I do some cross business where like I sell stuff here, for example, but it's not my money. It's the gym's money. You know, like I do run the gym in a sense, but yeah, it just recycles part of the business.
So that's your sponsorships.
Yeah.
Same as like the fighting gear and the cannabis stuff, right?
The fighting gear, yeah. Well, the fighting gear was with me. So Brian Fowlers is the owner of this place, and so he's given me, he's taken a chance on me and helped me out, and I'm helping with all the business. So I work on promoting the gear. We're hoping to have a whole new set of line soon.
Nice.
But there was some things that happened internally that cost a lot of money and time to take care of. Now that that's kind of out of the way, we have to kind of like rekindle all the old stuff eventually when we have money, right? So, but yeah, this event that I'm doing in Samoa, that we're doing, is going to be also promoting the brand.
Oh, nice.
Right? So that's kind of the goal. We've promoted a lot. It's on Fight Circus. If you watch the Fight Circus, they wear rage gloves. Yeah. So that's cool. I love Fight Circus. I'm proud of that too.
Yeah. It looks super festive, and you know, like a lot of people having a good old time. I mean, obviously more like skill exchange, like rather than like I'm gonna knock you down. Well,
but what makes Fight Circus so awesome is not so much it is the content they put out, you know, which I am a big fan of, and I'm always pushing for Fight Circus. But working with them, like John Nutt's one of my really good, he's one of my really good friends here in Thailand. Same with like Luke Welling and Wombat. All the guys involved with Fumetto Dojo were all like best friends.
Yes.
So when I go there, you know, including all the guys and the fighters, that even Mr. Fight, you know, the famous guy, even him, he's cool as fuck. So we hang out all the time, and it's a good time. You know, it's like having a barbecue at your friend's house, and you're fighting, and it's on TV. So it makes it less stressful than any other kind of fighting thing I've ever done. You know,
and it seems like community is super important in everything that you do in life. Like, it doesn't really matter which business. Like, if you have people who are supporting you and sort of like giving trust in you, sort of like
for sure. Well, there's a couple things about that. One, it's like, you know, if you like, there's that saying, if you're happy what you're doing always, then it's not really work, right? So if you're working with people that you enjoy working with, it makes it much more fun. I've worked in places where I don't like anybody, or people don't like me, and it's just like you're always on edge, and you're like stressing out and getting paranoid. It's fucking retarded. Why would I want to do that? So I try to, even if we have like hiccups or problems, we have to work together in a sense, you know, in anything. And also, like, one of the most important things I think that you need to do as somebody, especially somebody that doesn't come from a wealthy background, or, you know, you start from a lower pillar of life, you need to network. Networking is the number one way you can become successful when you have nothing, and that is by meeting others and showing others what you're about, and other people taking you on, giving you chances and working with them. That's how I got. I don't think I'm very high up now, but that's where I got it, where I am today. If I didn't network and I just went to the fights, in my fight, go eat in my hotel room and didn't do nothing, I wouldn't have achieved anything.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
It's like that about in every industry there is. You know, look at people that go to universities, people that go to Princeton. Most people that go to Princeton, their fathers or family have gone to Princeton before.
Exactly.
It's just a hierarchy, you know. It's just how life is, you know.
That's how I graduated. I mean, I'm sort of like this, the same pillar. Family is super sort of, go become an engineer, like a doctor or whatever, you know. And I'm like, okay, like maybe I should become a doctor. And I tried. I got into engineering school, dropped out the second year because it's not my thing. Then I was like, okay, like I kind of have to study. Like it seems like in the family, I'm kind of like the first generation. So I was like, okay, what do I like? I like reading books. So I'm going to go get a literature degree. And as I was finishing, I was like, now I need to go do some MBA. And a good friend of mine, Sid, he was telling me about, like, when you pay to go to school, you're not paying for the knowledge, you're paying for the circles. Like, they introduce you to people that otherwise you wouldn't meet. So, like, that's the whole idea. It's like how
100%. Yeah. I went to college or like college/university for fitness and health, physiology and promotions. And through there, they were even telling you networking is everything. You can never stop looking for clients, and you can never stop looking for connections. You gotta go. I also used to be a car salesman for a year, and it was all just networking, you know. So I learned that from a young age, and I realized also when I stopped, things would sour eventually because either your clients left or there's no one around, and you're like, shit, I didn't do all the work to like prevent this from happening. Now I got to start from scratch when I have no money, which makes everything way more difficult, which makes it impossible eventually, and then you just quit it and go get a job. You know. So it's important. Like now I have the gym, right, that I'm working with. I have my fighting, and I'm opening my weed shop, and I'm getting involved in a whole bunch of other things. You know.
Tell me more about the restaurant stuff, the fine dining.
Oh, like the stuff that I put? That's Harlan. He owns a gym. Gym. He owns a restaurant. It's a fine dining restaurant, but he likes to call it casual fine dining, but it's a bit fine dining. I've actually worked in fine dining myself. My background is bartending.
Oh, okay,
That's
cool.
the thing I've done more for the longest and the most time in my life. Consistently. Yeah, sorry. Brain damage. But he's a great man, Harley, man. So he sponsored me, and then I go over there. He gave me a bunch of food, and didn't make me pay for anything, just left a good tip, and it was great. But I love that environment, like restaurant, and I hope to have a restaurant myself. Like now I'm opening a weed dispensary, right? But I'm also gonna make it into a burger shop. Oh, yeah. Dude, on Soy 6, so perfect. It's gonna be So that I'm more excited now for the burger stuff than I am for the weed stuff.
My friend set up a pizza shop. This Jersey guy in Istanbul before I left. I call it Everyday Pizza. I just remember how excited he got about providing some food to people, like feeding people is something really different. You know?
I would like to open a pizza shop too. I love food.
It's like the care that you have that you can get across to people. It's like sharing love, you know.
No, definitely. So he took me out for a good night, whatever, me and my girl, and then it was a good time. I think he's a 3-star Michelin chef. Whoa, so it's very high level, you know. And now he's on vacation. He's doing a tour all around like South America, and he'll be back eventually. But like I said, I have a background in fine dining. I used to manage a fine dining restaurant. Before I came here, I was managing one of the biggest pool hall bars in Toronto, near the airport. So I honestly, that's the one thing I miss. I actually miss working in restaurants. You know, whether it's bartending or managing, I don't know. It's just a good time, but. It does take a lot out of you. It's hard work. It's not easy.
It's
hard.
backbreaking work, man.
Yeah, it is.
Like day in, day out. If that's what you're doing, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, definitely. But you get used to it, you know. And if you're working with good people and you have good people coming in, it's great, man. It's way better than working in a factory for 100%, you know.
Exactly.
And my dad used to say, "Oh, you need a real skill." I'm like, Mixology is a fucking skill. Managing a restaurant is hard, man. If you know how to manage a restaurant, you can manage anything.
Exactly.
You know, a restaurant is like, because you're not, when you're managing a restaurant, it's not like managing a normal business, because you're not just managing the economics and the sales, you know, and the organization. You also got to deal with the people, you know. For example, I was at Arizona's, right? And it was like a pool hall, and it was very famous. People used to go from the airport and go there and drink and eat. And I would work with, like, I don't know, I think at one time it'd be like anywhere between 10 and like 16 girls, you know. And then I got the whole back kitchen and all these girls getting drunk all the time. And, you know, they're not supposed to, but it's been in their culture for like years, so you can't really stop them.
What one does.
So I'm dealing with like, where's the POS system? I'm quitting. I'm like, please, Maya, don't quit. I need you. Ah, fuck that bitch. She's whatever else. And you know, and then like one girl comes to me. She's crying because the kitchen guy yelled at her. And then I'm like, bro, you can't fucking yell at the chicks, man. You gotta chill the fuck out. And he's like, oh, fuck this. Fuck Frank. Fuck the owner. God. I'm like, okay, well, why are you working here then? I need the money. Fuck everyone. And it's just like, and then the guy out in the front, he's like, I'm not paying for this tip, blah, 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 bad service. And then there's a brawl in the front. I got to punch some guy out and throw him out. And then come back. Man, it's fucking rough, man.
It's a kerfuffle.
Yeah, yeah. When I work at just security, I had a little bit of security business too. It was much easier. Well, it depends. Depends on where. Because I worked in some pretty rough places that were like the Roadhouse movie. But besides that, it's usually pretty chill. Yeah.
Whenever humans are involved in any business, it's like pretty difficult.
Yeah, especially when it involves alcohol.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
I think alcohol is one of those things where in the future, like, you know, in the past people were doing like cocaine and think it was medicine and stuff. I think alcohol is going to be the same. We're going to be like, why did we drink that much? Like,
oh yeah, they still did. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Like in Canada, they always have the hot toddies.
Hottie toddies,
yeah, hottie toddies. Yeah, I guess it's everywhere. Yeah. And that's medicine in a way. Yeah. It's a good way to excuse to drink alcohol while you're sick.
Yeah. Exactly.
It just makes you more numb. It doesn't really help.
Yeah. No, it's pretty bad for you. It's like poison. Like you're regularly poisoning yourself.
It's like the worst drug in the world because I think that's the real gateway drug. You start from alcohol and then you go to other things, you know. That's 100%. And alcohol has ruined my life. I had a DUI, lost my license. I went to jail a whole bunch of times, woken up at the drunk tank. I don't know, like just get my ass kick people's ass. I don't even remember kicking ass. You know, it was like alcohol's bad, man. Especially if you don't have control over it. If you can drink responsibly and learn, you know, I think it's more important to teach your kid how to drink responsibly than to try to prevent them to drink. Because trying to like say no drinking, your drinking's bad, don't drink in my house. It's the worst. It's the worst thing because that's what happened to me. And then I ended up just getting shit-faced, and without supervision, no one teaching me anything until I went to rehab. That was the first time I learned anything about drinking. After that, I stopped getting blacked out as much because I realized that if I just drink water when I drink, I don't black out.
Newsflash.
I try to tell that to my girl, and she still forgets sometimes. Drink water.
Drinking water is important. For every drink you have, I think another one should be water.
You know what? You should do something that I always tell people. One of the hardest things to ever make someone to do is trying to make a drunk person drink water. Try it. Please drink water. They will drink everything alcoholic, but they don't want the water. And I've worked with that from being security on the bar or just dealing with my own relationships for other people. But try to get somebody that's drunk next time and be like, you want to drink a water? They're going to tell you no. They
turn into hydrophobes.
Unless they're me. And I'm like, yeah, sure, man, I need water.
you learn
But I don't really drink much anymore.
I grew up I really didn't see a drop of alcohol until I was 18. My parents were super religious. So drinking was never a thing for me. More like just fell for the green stuff, man.
I was an alcoholic since I turned 16. I started drinking with the homies and hanging out in the corner and like movies, playing dice and getting into fights with other groups or getting robbed or robbing others. That's when I was really young, you know, and then I'll be drinking oldies or Colt 45s of anything 45s. And smoking blunts.
Oh god. Do you know this game Edward 40 hands? When
you tape your hands, with the oldies. Apparently now I said in Canada they're discontinuing oldies.
Oh no.
Weird.
Man, it's like I don't know. It's such a stark difference between weed and alcohol, because I feel like alcohol just makes you impaired and like not able to discern well. You can't choose well, and weed is on the other end. It's like it makes you hyper aware of like every little thought and emotion and reaction. So yeah.
If everyone smoked weed and didn't drink alcohol, the world would definitely be a better place.
Much better.
But
place.
there are people with mental illnesses that smoke weed and find out they have mental illnesses because of the weed, or it, it adds as like an amplifier in a way. Like if you have schizophrenia or stuff like that, it'll fuck you up in a way. But that's not like, it's not saying that weed gives you that. Exactly. At least that's from the studies that I've read. So it depends. Some people just can't smoke. And there's also like that theory or study that says that people have, THC receptors and some don't. And the ones that don't can't really take it like that. Or they don't have a certain version of them. It's part of your genetics, yeah? Yeah. Exactly. I definitely have a lot of THC receptors.
You got like receivers inside.
Yeah, I'm good. Every time I quit smoking weed and I'm like, I'm done, or like, because in training I can't smoke, when I'm training. I haven't done really drug testing for like weed or like that, but like I just don't smoke weed, because I need to stay focused on my fight. It's only when I'm off and I'm not doing anything and I don't have a fight, I'll smoke once in a while, or I eat edibles because I try not to smoke too, to keep myself healthy in that sense, Yeah.
Cool. So I was gonna talk about like the differences between Canada and Thailand.
Yeah, it's easy.
No, I just heard this American
Canada
lady.
cold, Thailand hot, Thailand cheap, Canada expensive.
Expensive as hell, man. At what point did you decide that Thailand is for me? I don't think I'm going back.
I think during the pandemic, when I had money invested in a whole bunch of things, and it was cheap. There's two things. One was when I had money and I realized and I saw how the government started to kind of like clamp down on people getting rich easy. And then when they started doing that physically, like preventing cryptos to like expand and or just really trying to take control, that all these people are getting rich and they're like, no, we can't have this. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, why? Isn't the point to get as much money as you can? But I realized, no, it's not. It's for some to have all the money and for you to really have nothing. To stay in your lane, And getting the backlash from that, I was like, whoa. It made me realize that I'm like, fuck, all this shit's a fucking lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to live back in that society where I'm like paying taxes to what? I'll give you I'll give you an example, right? I got like some money from the government of Canada, right? And now they want it back, but because the year before I left, I wasn't really working because I was going through like a lot of mental stuff, so I couldn't really work too much, I have depression and all that stuff at the time, and I made less than $5,000. Because I made less than $5,000, I have to pay back all the money they gave me from CERB, which is like from the thing. But I'm like, what? Because I was too poor? Now I got to pay you back? But if I made just enough, but every year before that I made well above that, and I paid my taxes every single year. So now I'm in a battle where I'm like, I don't want to pay back because it's not right, in a sense. Because I didn't take much, but I took enough. It's just the principle of it, Yeah. So in Thailand, it could be worse in a lot of ways because it is super corrupt here, But I find in like first world countries, it's very corrupt at the top.
Yeah.
Not like in the mid sector, Here it's like corrupt from the bottom to the top all the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Super organized. I know that from Turkey and East Europe and Romania and Russia. Like these countries, all crime is organized.
Yeah, very organized. To the point where you don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sex trade in where I'm from is massive, but you don't see it. You don't see it like
it's concealed well.
Yeah, it's concealed. There's like hotels, like the one we're looking at here, like this, a building like this, where like 70% of the rooms are escorts working in the hotels.
Yep.
So obviously it's just as prevalent as it is on Soy 6, except Soy 6 they're all out on the street groping you as we walk by.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
I think we're going through this time in life where the mask is just fallen off, especially in like Western democracy and foreign politics and stuff like this. So it's like I think the stage is kind of shifting towards a more balanced view of like the East and West. more people are like, hey, wait a minute, like that's democracy.
Yeah.
Like, what?
COVID woke a lot of people up. I don't think the world's flat, and I don't think Michelle Obama's a man. You know, but I do think that, you know, the government doesn't have my best interest.
Yeah.
You know, that's not their goal. Their goal is to make money.
Yes.
Just like everyone else, you know. And when you give too much power to somebody, they never want to let it go. Kind of same goes with like when they had the trucker rally in Canada, right? When all the truckers clamped down that they wanted to like lift the restrictions, and then they froze everyone's bank accounts, and any entity that was sending money to the truckers got their bank accounts frozen, and just very undemocratic stuff, you know. And it just shows. And then even now they have like they censored the news on online, like Facebook and Instagram. So now you can't even, because Facebook is against it, so you can't even get news on Facebook and Instagram anymore in Canada. At least I haven't been there in a little bit, so that's what they tell me, or what I hear on the news. But yeah, and then when I didn't have much money here, I realized that, man, you can still live here with like little bits. In Canada, when you don't have money, man, it's very hard because you need so much money just to even pay rent.
Yeah.
It's like $1,000, $2,000. Now it's like, on average, I think it's like, where I'm from, like anywhere between $1,500 to $2,500, you know. And if you still only get paid $15 an hour, you know how much you have to work just to make minimum wage. I mean, to make minimum wage just to get paid rent. And then what are you gonna do? Eat? How much is food now? Everything's gone up through the roof. Why the fuck would I want to go back?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Exactly.
I'm good here.
Yeah.
I'm
and
good here.
A lot of people realizing that. I told you, I saw this like American lady, and she was talking about how, you know, raising a kid in this part of the world is in every sense better because there's no active shooter drills. There's like better healthcare options, better food.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Canadian, so we don't really have that kind of. We have lockdown practices, but not like active shooter stuff. There's not that many guns in Canada. There are a lot, but you don't see school shootings.
Yeah.
Like, and if there is, it's just one guy shooting some guy he has beef with.
Yeah.
It's not like going in there and trying to massacre as many people as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the culture in the States, man, but
It's fascinating, man. It's really weird. I kind of feel like it's a failed experiment.
fuck yeah. It's failed a long time ago. Since what's the one in Michigan? The first big one.
The shooting?
Yeah, school in Michigan, where those two kids came in and shot everyone up, killed everybody.
I don't remember, but there's so many of them, man.
Yeah, the first, it was like 2001 or something like that.
Shit.
A big, massive one. It's Columbine.
Columbine, okay.
Columbine, yeah.
Oh, Columbine, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's about the culture there either.
But it's because they know what's wrong, but they don't do anything about it. Because in America, it's like money trumps everything.
It does.
You know, like for example, look at Japan. Now Japan is, I think they just banned a whole bunch of cereals. You know, they can make money if they sell those cereals, but they care for their people's health more.
They have a little bit
in America,
more
but also I think my other theory is that it's free healthcare in Japan, right? Same with Canada.
Yeah.
So they care more about your health because they got to pay for it. In America, you pay for your own healthcare. So fuck you do whatever you want. You know. So it's on capitalists to give you healthcare.
Yeah.
You gotta take care of yourself. You know. I don't want to infringe on your freedoms to choose your own healthcare, so I'm not giving you any.
Oh man, it's like this.
But you do get Medicare and stuff like that too, right? But it's very minimum, like surgeries.
And even in places where there is
Expensive,
healthcare, like in Turkey, there's like you get insurance and you kind of pay a little bit for your cheap healthcare, but like your ERs are just, I mean, like you could be dying and like you just still have to wait. Like the priority is like they don't really push up the priority. Like free healthcare is a joke in some parts of the world.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you pay for it, but at the same time, I feel like it's such a meat grinder in these like so-called democracies that you kind of it's a stark contrast between what I see over here in Thailand and
everything it boils down to the administration, like a business. If a business doesn't run, if you're not, if the people doing the books or the people managing aren't doing a good job, it's gonna go under, right? So healthcare is the same way. You know, it's like you have to run it properly. If you don't, but it's also like a kind of an experiment too, because it's not that old. You know, so it's still pretty new, and you know, causes taxes to go up. But you should have some, like, you know, when I had my nose cut off, and I had surgeries and like spend nights in the hospital, weeks in the hospital, except for the mental therapy part, but everything. My check at the end was zero. I didn't pay for one cent. The only thing I spent was with a psychiatrist, psychotherapist, to like, because I was having like, losing my mind. And I was like, man, I am so lucky to be Canadian. Yeah. Because I'd probably look like shit right now if I was born in fucking Florida.
And be in debt still.
Huh?
Be in debt.
And be in debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you break an arm, it's like, 10,000, 20,000.
Fucked.
Yeah.
I'd live in a bubble. I'd be like Bubble Boy.
Yeah.
Bubble Boy. If I was poor, I'd be like Bubble Boy. Just invest my money in a solid bubble.
It's crazy, man. But yeah, so going forward, it's you plan on staying in Thailand and just doing more fights.
We'll see how it goes. Honestly, right now I'm focusing on trying to live the best life that I can, make as much money as I can, and be as free as I can. At the same time, also try to achieve my goals when it comes to both business and fighting. Right? It's very hard to manage all of that at the same time, but I'm trying. I do have to put a lot more effort in running businesses than I do in training. But when the training is when I have a fight booked, I go full on, and people understand that I have to. Even when I was younger and I used to work jobs, I used to be like, I do fight also, so sometimes when I have a fight, I will have to be here less, and normally they never really had a problem with it. Yeah. And
do you have some lessons that kind of apply to both, your career in fighting and career in business?
Yeah, that, like, listen, I the one thing that makes people succeed rather than those that don't succeed, in my opinion, and from when I talk to, like, when I have conversations with people that have, like, that are doing pretty well for themselves, it's all the same shit. Why they are at the place that they are, and even fighting is the same way, is that they never quit. Like, even when it makes no sense to keep going, you gotta keep going, because the moment you stop, it's the end. My dad always used to say something to me. He's like, one of the proudest moments of my life, he used to say, was when I realized I wasn't gonna be a doctor, because he wanted to be a doctor, because I had you and your mom, and I had to quit my dreams and understand reality and cope with it, and be like, I need to make money to feed my kids. And I think that was a very proud moment of my life, he said. I'm paraphrasing, but but when he told me that story, it wasn't like he motivated me to, like, get a job. He was like, wow, I always thought that was kind of like a shitty thing, like, I'm sorry I made you quit your dreams. So I don't want to be like that. I want to keep pushing as much as I can. And there was times where I was like, fuck, I'm fucked. I was like, there's no, like, what am I going to do now? But I just kept going, like, stubbornly, and eventually everything works out. I swear, at least everything for what I've seen on my end, it's been working out. But then again, I could get cancer tomorrow and die. So I don't know. But that's just my theory.
It's time and attention. I think you're speaking the truth right there. Like, whatever you give your attention throughout time is, there's no other way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
just keep going.
Just keep going, man. Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
You want to wrap it up?
Up to you.
So just tell me one thing that you would tell your 18-year-old self as advice.
Stop wasting time. Stop caring about shit that don't matter. Do what you need to do now before you're doing it in your 30s, early 30s, where, like, you're more tired, old, and slower. Yeah. That's what I'm doing now.
Nice, man.
Should have done this at 23, not at fucking 32,
Better late than never, though, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, there's a cool phrase about how the best time to plant a tree was, 19 years ago, and the second best time is right now.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's what I would say. Stay off the booze. Stop drinking.
Stop drinking. Stay off the booze.
Keep things out your nose.
Hey. Preach, brother. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time.
Appreciate it, yeah. It was fun, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So where can people find us? You.
My Instagram is @JonnyTello, and I think my Facebook is the same.
Awesome.
Yeah, and obviously on the Rage Fight Academy pages.
Nice. And do you have any, any parting thoughts? Anyone who's like aspiring fighter or aspiring business person, they want to come to Thailand or something like that? Any messages you want to put out there?
No matter how hard it gets, just don't quit. Just keep going. Yeah. And go to where things are easier. Don't just keep struggling because you think it's the best thing to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're not a tree. You can move.
Yeah, you're not a tree. Move.
Yeah.
I find a lot of people, when they leave their country, it becomes better, especially right now. So I would say if you're in a place where you're not doing so well and everything's so expensive, get the fuck out of there. Go to Vietnam. Go to fucking Thailand. Go to Ecuador, Colombia. Go somewhere. There's the world's big. You'll find somewhere that suits you better.
Yeah. Arbitrage.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much, man.